Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Stuart Allen Swerdlow.
And Janet Diane Moya Swerdlow.
And this is the Expansions News Podcast for the third week of June 2020. And a happy Father's Day week to everybody out there who celebrates Father's Day.
Do you celebrate Father's Day?
Well, I don't know. To me, it looks like there's no boxes anywhere that might be a present, or nothing came in the mailbox. So,
Are you a father?
well, yeah.
Okay, so happy Father's Day.
Well, thank you. Yeah, also grandfather.
Yes, you're your grandfather.
But I don't know, nobody's texting or ringing or calling, or it's not till tomorrow, so
They have time.
we'll see. And because of that, and I realize that there's, a lot of stores are closed, blah, blah. So I'm actually extending it the entire week, the entire third week of June. We are having my Father's Day celebration, just let you know, also for yourself.
Yeah.
All right, so there's still time to actually put things in the mail, overnight delivery, and that kind of thing. But speaking of fathers, let's talk about President Trump. Because this past week, President Trump signed an executive order on law enforcement reform, and he said chokeholds will be banned except if an officer's life is at risk. So that goes for you too, Missy. The chokeholds you're putting on me
No.
when you don't like what I'm saying.
I thought you were going to say the chokeholds you're putting on me.
Are you kidding? I wouldn't last 1 second with your the things that you do.
That's true.
Forget it. I wish you would make an enforcement reform against you. No chokeholds on Stuart.
Or other body parts.
Or the other. Well, we don't know.
But you don't have any response to
Those-
that one, do you?
Whatever.
Yeah,
And so
whatever.
he is expressing strong support for the police before signing the order, and he characterizes promoting the highest professional standards. And listen to this, what he said. He said, these standards will be as high and as strong as there is on earth. That's a very strange statement, particularly coming when he also said that he had read something about Roswell, but he could not say. But I can say, because I know what it was. But I have said it. He went on to say, we're united by our desire to ensure peace and dignity and equality for all Americans. And he said the order on use of force, best practices, information sharing to track officers who have repeated complaints against them, and federal incentives for police departments to deploy non-police experts on issues like mental health, homelessness, and addiction. He also said that law enforcement would only be allowed to use chokeholds when their lives are in danger. I said that already. And he said, I strongly oppose the radical and dangerous efforts to defund, dismantle, and dissolve our police departments. I agree. Especially now when we've achieved the lowest recorded crime rates in recent history. Well, I don't know if you can say that with the riots and all that going on.
I'm going to tell you this though. Like if people are in the middle of some kind of a horrible thing, sometimes the police need to go, and a social worker isn't going to know how to handle the violence. If you go to a social worker or a counselor when you're like, your head is in halfway decent order, not in the middle of some kind of violent blow up.
Well, to be honest, and I've had a lot of social workers as clients, they really don't know what they're doing.
Well, that's why I said, so if
Seriously,
you put these
though.
people in the middle of a violent thing, they're going to get hurt.
Yes, I
And the
agree.
police officers are trained, like they're a first responder to like triage, just to stop everything and get going. So I
And
think
so-
that's a bad idea.
And that's why he said, without police, there is chaos. Without law, there is anarchy. And without safety, there is catastrophe. And we are seeing all of that. When you remove the police, you hurt those who have the least, the most.
Yes.
Very strange sentence.
No, we've talked about that.
Yes, so Trump is currently threatening to step in with federal forces to clear out protesters from the 6th block area of downtown Seattle named Capitol Hill Organized Protest, or CHOP, which has been declared cop-free by its occupants. And Governor Jay Inslee and the mayor of Seattle are being taunted and played at a level that our great country has never seen before, he said. Take back your city now. If you don't do it, I will. This is not a game. These ugly anarchists must be stopped immediately. Move fast. I agree. So where are you, President Trump? Why aren't you taking it back? How long has it been already?
You know,
it's been a long time.
The UN was upset because Trump called these people anti-fascist.
The UN is a communist Nazi organization.
But they made a public statement about that, so I thought that was very interesting.
If I were president, or emperor as the case may be, I would throw out the United Nations, I would throw out the Democrats, I would create military occupation of the United States under US forces, and I'd get rid of all these demons.
Well, you know what I would do? I would take the fire hose and just hose down.
Oh, the fire hose. So the witches was like Governor Whitman would go, I'm melting.
Yes.
That's all.
Yes.
She's the only one that would melt.
But
Her and Hillary.
like in Hong Kong, once they colored it red, once they colored it blue, and they got rid of all the people that way.
No, not water hoses. Fire.
Yeah,
Hoses
that's what
that
I mean.
emit fire, not
no.
water. Fire thrust.
Fire hoses
What do you call
that
those
do
things?
I know what you're
Fire
talking
throwers.
about. Yes, no.
Flamethrowers.
No, it has to be a fireman's water hose.
No, that's
Just
not enough.
Water them all down and they'd be gone.
No, then they'd be
And then
alive
it would
after
be
that.
the end.
So, continuing in your country, Olympia, Washington mayor Cheryl. So, why all these cities have female mayors? I'm sorry, that might be a problem. All these cities have female mayors have problems. She supported Black Lives Matter and the rioters until they came and vandalized her house. Selby got down on her knees to grovel and show fealty to the left-wing mob as they used violence to gain power in the streets. Then, two groups converged in downtown Olympia, which is the capital of Washington State, and some became destructive, burning flags, smashing windows, spray painting businesses, and then they came to Selby's neighborhood, and her home was vandalized by thugs. Selby did not seem to care very much when ordinary folks were being accosted by the mob, but now that she has learned she isn't insulated from them, she's changed her tune immediately.
Is she gonna get out the fire hoses?
She said, I'm really trying to process this. It's like domestic terrorism. It's unfair. Really, Dopnik? You should have stopped it before they got into your stupid city. She's an idiot. Just like the mayor of Seattle, like the mayor of Chicago, like the mayor of Washington, and the mayor of Atlanta. She said, it hurts when you're giving so much to your community. What did you give them? Communism? Anarchy? You deserve to have your house vandalized. In fact, if I came there, I'd vandalize it. They did it already.
Strong words.
Yes, well, she's an idiot. She was the one that got down on her knees and worshipped Satan, basically. And then she says, it's pretty traumatic when someone comes to your home. Yes, moron. That was the whole point. I'm glad they came to your home when you did what you did, or you didn't do the right thing. But she previously refused to do anything but encourage the mob, and she refused to institute a curfew in her town, and so she got punished.
But it doesn't say if she did anything. Now, did she put in a curfew? Did she do anything?
No, she's an idiot. She's a moron idiot like all the other mayors that have done this. Demons always pay for their evil, Miss Selby, and so will the Democrats who created this. And speaking of evil demons, House Speaker Nancy Pants Pelosi.
You just love her, don't you?
Yeah, I wish she was right here so I could show her how much I love her. Ordered the removal of 4 portraits in the United States Capitol of former speakers of the House who served in the Confederacy. A symbolic gesture to honor Juneteenth, which no one ever heard of before.
And now they have.
Now it's supposed to be a federal holiday next year, by the way.
Yeah, and they just kind of popped it
If
in
we
our
have a country
Google
next year.
calendar like the day before.
Maybe we won't even have a country next year if President Trump doesn't do something real fast. Juneteenth marks the day in 1865 when people in Texas, including 250,000 enslaved people, were told slavery was over some 2 years after the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation. It took a long time to get news to Texas.
I told them that story last
How come they knew about it in California, which is further away?
I don't know.
Answer that one.
They said because Texas is further apart geographically.
All please is baloney.
That's what
They
they
just
said.
didn't want to. We don't hear nothing. We still got slaves. We don't hear nothing. When you hear something about emancipation, I hear nothing. That's what they said. Until finally they came there and said, no, we gotta free them. That's what happens in Texas. They do whatever they want. And I just spoke to someone there, and they said, we're not really a state, we're a republic. That's why. But I wanted to say, actually, it was part of Mexico. So you were not a republic. Anyway, Trump says that he will not consider renaming the military bases who were named for the Confederate generals. Over the decades, Republicans and Democrats have essentially flipped on racial issues, and many Democrats who defended slavery and segregation switched to the Republican Party during the Civil Rights Movement, because in the South, the Democrats wanted slavery, and in the North, the Republicans were against it. And so by Nancy Pants taking away the photos and the statues I saw this morning, she is destroying history to hide their past, because it is her party that wanted slavery and kind of still does. Let's go to another country. Israel is setting up a task force aimed at bringing a new level of accuracy to genome editing in the hope it will pave the way to cure various medical conditions. And this is under that thing called CRISPR, a technology for making edits to the genome. There's widespread excitement about this editing in the community. And in fact, there was an attempt to treat genetic conditions that cause blindness. Genome editing, which involves making a change to DNA normally to address a health problem, is thought to have potential for common conditions like cancer and blood disorders, but also for rare genetic illnesses for which medicines aren't developed. Genome editing is already used in agriculture and research, and it's widely hoped that successes with animals, like reducing the severity of genetic hearing loss in mice, that's very important. You know those little tiny hearing aids they have? They fall down the sewers, they fall in the cracks of your house. It's hard for those little mice. It's important to get their hearing back, don't you think?
I think they need to work on, you do our work, the mental work, to fix it.
You know, it's better than having, I guess, 3 blind mice, see how they run. Well, they said that the method is safe and feasible. And in 2018, Chinese researcher He Jiankui claimed to have produced the world's first gene-edited babies. And for his work, he was sentenced to 3 years in prison. Oh, you go now. Why you ate the baby? That's what they said to him. That was his conviction. So Israel has strict laws governing scientific endeavors, and there is no research involving humans that will take place without approval by an ethical committee. I'd like them to find an ethical committee. It doesn't exist.
They're going to do whatever they want to do.
So there's a consortium, which is Bioconvergence Initiative, which brings together, guess what they bring together? Engineering, AI, physics, computation, nanotechnology, material science, and advanced genetic engineering. What could possibly go wrong? Especially with the AI in there. Seems like a winner to me. Now, speaking of winners, let's go to North Korea. Because the North Korean army is ready to take action if defector groups push ahead with their campaign to send propaganda leaflets into North Korea. They said that it was a warning of a retaliatory measure. The General Staff of the Korean People's Army, or KPA, said it has been studying an action plan to re-enter zones that had been demilitarized under an inter-Korean pact and turn the front line into a fortress. Maybe they're part of Antifa. They said, our army will rapidly and thoroughly implement any decision and order of the party and government. Is that racist?
I'm not even going to comment.
No, but they probably said it in Korean. They probably say, I just said it in, Kinglish.
I said that's terrible.
I don't care. And it's all because of these leaflets which carry messages critical of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, including human rights abuses. Several defector-led groups have regularly sent back flyers together with food, $1 bills, mini radios, and USB sticks containing South Korean dramas and news. Everything in South Korea is a drama, and usually by balloons, and they fly them over heavily fortified border areas or in bottles by river. That sounds like really good security by North Korea if they can get things in with balloons and bottles.
I think it's a made-up story.
And guess what? Did you know that Kim Jong-un had a sister?
Yes.
Her name is Kim Yo-jong.
Yeah, she's been in the news for weeks now.
Kim Yo-jong. She's very thin and pretty, by the way. She's not like her brother, who's not thin and pretty. I would probably be executed for that in North
If
Korea.
you were in North Korea, maybe you might think he's thin and pretty.
Yeah, especially if I was starving and couldn't see straight. And she serves as a senior official of the ruling Workers' Party, and she ordered the military to prepare for next action. And you know what that action was? She blew up a building in the DMZ. That'll teach them a lesson. No more battles on roads. You go. That's what she said. Hey, I'm just telling you what the news is. You know. Okay. Yeah, okay. Now, Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri, who's a Republican, introduced legislation this week to give Americans the ability to sue major tech companies like Facebook, Google, and Twitter if they censor them in political speech. That's good news for us, isn't it? It was a section limiting Section 230 Immunity to Good Samaritans Act, which I didn't know it even existed, which was co-sponsored by Senators Marco Rubio, Mike Braun, Tom Cotton, and so on. And they said that such companies, it would stop these companies from receiving immunity under this Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act unless they update their terms of service to promise to operate in good faith. That'll be the day that Facebook, Google, and Twitter operate in good faith. For too long, big tech companies like Twitter, Google, and Facebook have used their power to silence political speech from conservatives without any recourse for users. That is the truth. And so the bill would allow users to sue companies for breaching that contractual duty of good faith, and it would make them pay $5,000 plus legal fees to each user who prevails in the case again. So that's it, who prevails. Who's the judge going to be? A Democrat judge? That's the issue right there. And so the report does not call for repealing the statute entirely, but for rolling back immunity for platforms that facilitate criminal activity and for those that don't take action when notified of specific criminal material or activity. And President Trump signed the executive order this month, which interprets this Section 230 as not providing statutory liability protection for tech companies that engage in censorship and political conduct. So that it may be good for a podcast. Maybe they'll think twice before they censor it and delete it like they did the last time. And just so that you know, the podcasts are available on Vimeo on our website.
Free. For
free. And I think, is it on these Twitter, Facebook?
It's also on YouTube.
Well, duh. They'll cut them out.
No, but on YouTube, the last one, yes, they did pull it down within 24 hours. So I suggest that you watch this quickly and share it with all your friends because we don't know how long this one will be up because our last podcast wasn't really that much different than any other one. And we've only...
Well, I was ranting.
Well, we only had one other one that was pulled out. We'd been demonetized some time ago, which didn't really matter because we were only making like $30 a month from it, so no big deal.
I'd never seen a penny of that.
Yeah, that's right, $30 a month, if that. So, you know, the demonetization was not a big deal.
No. Before I go on to my last story, I do have a report from Lebanon again. And it's very interesting, but because she says the situation is rapidly escalating from bad to worse, and I don't know how bad it will get. Today, the U.S. sanctions will start on Syria. It's called the Caesars Act. And the Caesars Act is a U.S. State Department act that targets the Syrian government and its activities. And Washington wants to remove all Iranian forces and Hezbollah from Syria. That's what the Caesar Act is. And U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says the U.S. is announcing 39 designations targeting Syrian government under the Caesar Act, including President Bashar al-Assad and his wife. And they've put economic and political pressure on the Syrian government. It goes on to say that Hezbollah, before that it says that they jumped the dollar exchange to 7,000 Lebanese lira to $1 last week on the black market. There's serious anarchy in downtown Beirut. The Parliament Square and its surrounding streets are all barricaded by blocks of concrete, so demonstrators could do whatever they want. They ended up destroying whatever shops have remained, like DHL office, car rental shops, etc. Hezbollah is buying all the US dollars from the black market and sending it to Syria. There's a high demand. The government is trying to clamp down on exchange shops that are currently trading currencies with the black market, but to no avail. The Lebanese central bank pumped US dollars into the market last week in hope that its exchange rate would stabilize at 3,900, but now it's close to 4,800. So there's no solution there. The leader of the Hezbollah group, Hassan Nasrallah, who's connected to, guess who? George Soros. She thinks that they were twins at birth. She said he made an announcement saying, "Dare you criticize their policies about giving up the illegal arms, the next thing you are taken to court." Hezbollah is smuggling everything from Lebanon to Syria to keep that regime going, and we are left starving. She said 50% of the population of Lebanon is now living below the poverty line. Hospitals are running out of supplies, and they're taking few cases. There's no cash flow, no liquidity, and Lebanese lira has lost its value against the US dollar. Food businesses cannot import supplies like raw material. For instance, the meat import has stopped, so all butchers have closed their shops. Wheat import, which was supported by the government, is also smuggled to Syria, so they'll be out of bread soon also. Whoever earned a salary of $1,000 a month is now earning $400 at the most and working reduced hours. She said, Nasrallah said that what protects our country, meaning Lebanon, and our sovereignty is our weapon. So whoever wants us to choose between two, he's giving his country two options to either die by use of weapons or by hunger. Isn't that lovely of him? Nice Muslim fundamentalist. He said the United States is trying to block all available opportunities to starve the Lebanese. They're trying to stop the starvation, but Nasrallah said that they have many friends and they will continue starving the Lebanese people. And our reporter says, I pray that all of this will come to an end, and I pray for President Trump to keep going and keep fighting for us all. Where we go one, we go all, and we should all pray for Lebanon and the Syrian people, because Syrian people don't want Assad there. Anyway, my last story is about Australia. I found it very interesting because scientists have discovered an unprecedented system of underwater rivers flowing hidden from view along the continental shelf of Australia on a scale unknown anywhere else in the world. And they're calling it a dense shelf water cascade. They just make up names, really. Why don't they just call it hidden rivers?
That would be better.
Yes. It surrounds most of the country, according to new data recorded by the Ocean Glider submersibles, that the underwater flows along more than 10,000 kilometers or 6,200 miles of Australian coast. What does that mean? It means it's the remnants of ancient Lemurian rivers, just like the Gulf Stream that used to exist was the remnant of the coastline of Atlantis. And so on that note, I'm going to hand it over to you, and I'll give my other reports notes after you're done.
All right. So, we need to go back to Seattle. You had mentioned.
I don't want to go back to Seattle.
I think we mentioned that last week that they had changed it from Chaz to Chop. So now it's
Chaz to Chop.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't sure what the O stands for.
I think they should name it SAS.
And did you know that a protester in that police-free district, which was set up, of course, by demonstrators, demanded that the white demonstrators hand over $10 to their black counterparts.
Except they probably don't have $10.
And they were told, if you have a hard time giving $10, you got to think you are really down with this struggle. Are you really down with the movement? If that is a challenge for you, I'm not sure you are in the right place. So I guess I have to pay the black ones to be there.
It's just hoodlums.
Okay, and not only that, apparently they have a warlord there. Did you
How
know
surprising.
That? His name is Raz Simone, and apparently he was filmed handing out assault rifles to minors, which is a state felony.
Yeah, that's when the mayor said it was just a street party.
However, there's nobody there to enforce the law. And this video that he actually posted on his own Facebook live stream, which incriminated him, And it showed him handing out these AR-15 semi-automatic rifles to individuals who look much younger than 21.
So here's a question. What are they going to do with them, those rifles?
Well, let me tell you this. Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkin,
Jerkface.
a Democrat who has not lifted a finger to enforce local or state
Why
laws.
don't they arrest her for treason?
She claims that Chaz, or Chuck, is an experiment in democracy.
Really? With guns?
And Raz, the warlord, told reporters that he created a de facto police replacement to keep the peace and unity.
It's called machine guns.
And it's called treason.
Yeah.
Now, get this. This was, I thought, almost beyond ludicrous. King County Board of Health passes a resolution which is declaring racism a public health crisis.
Oh my God! How do these people have not 3 brain cells together? All
Apparently, I'm so embarrassed. I came from that country.
I'm embarrassed for you too.
The strain of racism that Black, Indigenous, and other people of color in our community live with every day leads to differences in health and well-being, opportunities for employment, education, and housing, and truly is a public health crisis, said a board member. Now that goes for whites who are also people of color. There are plenty of people of color.
I have a color.
Right, who cannot access affordable health care, who have poor housing, who can't find employment. And in fact, it is racism when a white person can't get it because they're white. That's racism.
Well, you know what? There's now more racism against whites than against any other race.
Well, the other thing I was thinking, maybe there's some people called clear people, like you wrote about in Montauk,
Okay,
Alien
now
Connection.
that person would not have color.
That's right, but we have
But
a
we
color.
have a color. I have a color.
And I have black in me, but you probably don't know that by looking at me, but I do. So I have all
And
kinds.
you feel I'm racist against you?
Yes.
Well, that explains the chokeholds.
Yeah, that explains it. Now, this is also very interesting because we have talked a little bit before about the celebrities who are donating money to get these rioters and looters out of jail.
Right, they're committing treason as well.
And I don't understand why they're not raising money for the business owners who were vandalized
You know what it
and
reminds
lost
me of?
everything.
This whole thing, Seattle, Minneapolis, Atlanta, it reminds me of Kristallnacht in Nazi Germany, when they broke all the windows and destroyed the shops, and it's the same Nazi tactics.
Yeah. Well, anyway, apparently these celebrities have taken in over $30 million, some say up to 35 and more $million in what they're calling the Freedom Fund. But guess what? They've only given out $200,000 in donations to get these people out of jail.
Let me guess where the other 29.8 million
Democrats.
is probably went to the Democrat Party.
Probably. Now, then there's Christianity Today. We have talked about this President and CEO Timothy Dalrymple, I guess is how you say his name. He claims that repentance is not enough and churches should give sacrificially for reparations. He said that churches should give biblical restitution for the history of racism in America. Mm-hmm. And he lamented that slavery is one of the nation's original sins and the church was silent or complicit.
Yet that was 200 years ago.
But it's not only that, because there are a lot of good Christian people who fought against slavery.
Yes, and they were Republican.
And I'm going to tell you something else. He claims that all of this is responsible for, listen to this, a catastrophic wealth gap between black and white Americans. So I'm going to tell you that as formerly a white person, Kanye West and a whole bunch of other black people have a catastrophic wealth gap beyond me that most likely I'll never attain. Mm-hmm. So let's look at it that way.
Well, maybe you will if you play up on your black part.
Maybe then I can
But
get
here's
some
the
of this
thing.
money.
Why should people who never owned slaves give money to people who never were slaves?
That's right. And this Dalrymple says that there's something called the Zacchaeus Fund, which I never heard of before, in Atlanta, where Christians who believe that African Americans have been subjected to 4 centuries of injustice and plunder.
We all have been.
That's right, but they have this specifically for, they are calling it, African Americans, and some of them, some of black people didn't come from Africa.
Am I a European American then?
I guess
want
so.
to be. Why is it black? African American, but I'm white.
And so he wants to have these funds in every city, and then believers give sacrificially so our brothers and sisters can be restored. So I'm going to tell you again that you're not responsible for the sins of anyone but yourself.
Right, from hundreds of years ago.
And again, many Christians work to free the slaves and achieve racial equality in the U.S. Mm-hmm. So anyway, this is again It's fueling racism. It's not
It is.
resolving
It's
it.
absolutely making things worse.
And in New York, 3 Jews and 2 Catholic priests have joined forces to sue de Blasio and Cuomo for discrimination.
Good.
Apparently, they're accusing the officials of blatant double standards and their enforcement of social distancing because they barred religious services, but they allowed protesters to congregate in the city. Apparently, they filed their suit following large-scale protests by Black Lives Matter supporters. They point out that on June 4th, de Blasio himself did not adhere to social distancing and the 10-person limit on gatherings when he attended a mass political rally at New York City's Cadman Plaza. He also failed to wear a face mask at the event. Days later in Williamsburg, Hasidic children were evicted from a park by a police officer for violating the 10-person limit. The Jewish community also came under attack from de Blasio in April when he threatened the community with arrest and prosecution following the funeral of Rabbi Chaim Mertz, which was disbanded by police in Williamsburg. De Blasio tweeted at the time, "My message to the Jewish community and all communities is this simple. The time for warnings has passed. I have instructed the New York Police Department to proceed immediately to summons and even arrest those who gather in large groups. This is about stopping this disease and saving lives, period."
Except if you're breaking windows and burning buildings, then you can all join together and do that.
Yeah.
And first of all, I want to make a comment that de Blasio is not his real name.
No.
He has a German name. He was born with a German name, and he's changed it apparently twice. And so he's a fake.
Yeah.
He's a fake person.
And he also issued a statement of regret for the tone of his strict tweet, calling it tough love. Now, the attorney for this group of 3 Jews and 2 Catholic priests said these orders clearly discriminate against houses of worship. They're illegally content-based, elaborate, arbitrary, and pseudoscientific. Why is a large worship gathering deemed more dangerous than a mass protest full of shouting, arm-waving
Right.
people in close proximity to another? The complaint accuses them of an unprecedented abuse of power, of exploiting the coronavirus pandemic to create over the past 3 months a veritable dictatorship by means of a complex web of defendant Cuomo's
Good.
executive orders.
Except that's on a global basis, not
Yes,
just New York.
not just for him, but listen to this. Meanwhile, and this I didn't know, maybe you've seen it in the news, New York theaters have all been closed down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? These theaters, the same theaters that are closed, you can't go to an event. They're opening their doors for protesters so they can rest, use the Wi-Fi, use bathrooms.
But you
and-
can't have a show.
And get food and water.
Brilliant.
And not only that, they prevent the police from going in the venues. So none of these actions have resulted in
Is that-
objection or interference from Cuomo or de Blasio.
These people are committing treason.
Yes. Anyway, and then not only that, de Blasio, I don't know if you saw this, I did, he ordered a Jewish park, he ordered the gates welded shut so the children couldn't go in and play.
But,
And
but the protesters can have shelter somewhere.
yes, and they have pictures of the Jewish men with their pliers opening
Good.
the gates to
You're
let
not going
their
to stop those
children in.
Nazis, let me tell you right now, Blasio.
Now, and in the meantime, the hundreds of thousands of people gathered in Brooklyn Museum the day before they closed the park to the children to protest, but they won't let the children go play in the park.
You're a communist Nazi.
And de Blasio has also instructed COVID-19 contact tracers to not ask people if they attended the Black Lives Matter protests.
Well, if you go to church or synagogue, then we have to contact you.
Or you wanna play in
but
the
if you're
park.
a protester, go play,
Yeah.
go ahead.
And now listen to this next brilliant story. This actually came out of Britain, one of your favorite brilliant countries.
YUK.
Tim Hartley, who's a former director at Vidal Sassoon, has said that COVID-19 is reviving the iconic precision bob cut as the safe alternative to lengthy blow dries for long hair.
Why?
Because they claim that the virus can live on long hair.
Really?
So you should have short hair. Now, hair represents your strength, and they
But you
want you
wear
to
a
cut it
mask,
off.
but your hair is...
Yeah. So anyway, so he says that the hour-long blow dries in the salon are not safe for the stylist or the client. So they want people to stop having long hair, cut it off, and they're encouraging now the stylist, and some of them will not even take you in their salon if you want your hair blow dried.
That's why I have my hair so short.
Yeah. And not only that, they said because they have they can't have all their stations open because of their social distance, whatever it is.
This whole thing is bizarro.
So they can see less clients, so they want shorter haircuts so they can get more people in and out. So it's like,
It's just
it just gets
ridiculous.
beyond bizarre. And then, and I've seen this all over the internet, but people are saying now, where do we get this, this social distancing, 2 meters, 2 feet, what do they call it here, 6 feet rule, whatever it is. It says the World Health Organization, the World Health Organization,
They're reliable.
they actually only recommended 1 meter, but the UK claimed they doubled that for a guarantee. So isn't that silly?
So you're not amused.
Now here in Michigan, Congresswoman Tlaib,
Why do you have to bring her up?
advocates of defunding the police unit.
We should defund her.
And when people are asking what will replace the police, she said possible bans of roving social workers, or maybe the Black Lives Matter
Or maybe just-
members
maybe
themselves,
just-
with their carrying their AR
How about
whatever.
or Palestinian terrorists, perhaps?
And guess what? The celebrities are also saying defund the police, but guess what? They have enough money. They pay for their own security.
Until their houses are attacked and
This woman?
vandalized, and then they'll change it to
Yeah. And Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer blocked a resolution condemning the riots.
Upchuck
And
schemer.
Governor Whitmer supports
Yeah,
the
Whitmer.
spirit of defunding.
She's in
Please.
big trouble.
Yes. And guess what St. Louis residents want to do?
Let me guess. Burn everything down?
Well, close. They want to change the name of their city because King Louis IX, who was the first French king
Oh, my
canonized by the
goodness.
Catholic Church, burned over 12,000 manuscript copies of the Talmud and other Jewish publications. So they're claiming that because he was an anti-Semite and Islamophobe, that the good citizens should not have to live in a city named after him, and they should take his statue down.
I see.
That's St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, I'm sure you've heard about Aunt Jemima.
I love Aunt Jemima.
Yes, and her great-grandson is furious that her legacy is being erased. Larnell Evans Sr., who's a 66 retired veteran, he said, I think he's disabled, I might get there. He said, this is an injustice for me and my family. This is part of my
Right.
history.
Exactly.
He said, this company profits off our images of slavery, and their answer to erase my great-grandmother's history of black female hurts. Apparently, the first Aunt Jemima was Nancy Green at the Chicago's World Fair in 1893. And so she portrayed, I guess, this character Aunt Jemima until her death, and this man's grandmother took over. Now, this was interesting because she was actually serving her own pancakes at New York State Fair in 1935. So Quaker Foods hired her and used her likeness, and the family claims they actually used her pancake recipe. And the family actually sued Quaker Foods for $3 billion
Good.
for not paying royalties.
Good.
But they lost the case.
Oh.
So this is why they're really taking her image off, is because of the family probably
That's criminal.
deserves money.
That's criminal.
And they're not paying. It has nothing to do with being black. It has to do with money.
That's all it is,
That's
people. It's
right.
money and control, nothing with race.
That's right. So anyway, I don't blame this man for being angry. And now, guess what? Now cream of wheat, which I didn't know because I don't eat cream of wheat. But anyway, they have an image of a black chef. And the copy refers to the chef as Restus, which I guess is now considered a slur, which I didn't know that
It
either.
is. I
Well, it's
never
like
heard of these things. I
Juneteenth.
never heard of such things.
So this is a slur apparently. So now the cream of wheat is going to take his picture off the
Oh,
box.
you know what? Why don't they just close up everything in the universe?
That's what they're doing. And then Uncle Ben, have you ever seen Uncle Ben's rice
Of
box?
course, that's a racist too. Of
Yes,
course.
because it's a black man's
Uh-huh,
portrait.
right.
So to me, this is why do you want to take the black people off of things?
It's actually racist against black people.
Yes, this is a good thing that they're out there and they're doing things.
And we can't wear cotton because they used to pick cotton.
And so did white people, if you know your history. So it's not just about.
Well, we don't know history because they're destroying history
That's right.
and rewriting it.
That's right. And a city removed Columbus, Ohio, removed the Christopher Columbus statue, and now people are calling for the name of that
Okay,
city.
so I was just gonna say,
Yes.
right.
And guess what? Eskimo pies.
Not Eskimo pie.
Yes, now they're claiming that's a derogatory name. It's owned by Dreyer's Ice Cream, and so now they're going to change that. And this one is just the most ludicrous one yet, although I'm sure it will get more ludicrous because every time I think it can, it does. PETA is now calling cow's milk a symbol of white supremacy.
Oh my God. These people are from, I don't know where they come from.
The cow's milk is the perfect drink of
Because
choice
it's white.
for all Even unwitting supremacists, since the dairy industry
Oh my
inflicts
God.
extreme violence on
People.
other living beings.
People, please.
PETA is trying to wake people up to the implications of choosing a white beverage and suggesting they choose something else.
So you can't eat vanilla ice cream either.
And
then.
this is just, again, so crazy.
Mhm.
The release says the dairy industry has control over your mind. I think PETA,
I think PETA has control
over your
yeah,
mind.
their mind control a little bit.
And apparently this story was several days after the New York Times published a story called Why White Supremacists Are Chugging Milk.
They are? I don't even drink milk.
Maybe if you put chocolate in it, then it becomes okay.
No, because then it's mulatto.
Well, then that could be called racist
Yeah.
too.
Then we call Barack
So
Obama
maybe we
milk.
can't have anything white, maybe we can't have anything black.
It's just so stupid.
Maybe, like I said, it should all be
stupid.
clear.
Yeah.
So listen to this, Walmart.
But you know, Nancy Pelosi eats vanilla ice cream.
Yeah, I don't know if that. Well, that's
It's made
apparently
out, and it's
white
made out of
supremacist. I don't
milk.
know.
She's a racist.
Apparently. Walmart is testing a store that will only offer self-checkout in Fayetteville, Arkansas, because they want to limit human interaction because of coronavirus. And if that's
That
successful,
doesn't exist.
then they're going to expand the program and eliminate jobs. That's
That's the real reason.
yeah. And June 21, of course, you probably know, is a solar eclipse as
And
well
it's Father's
as,
Day.
and it is
I
also
know.
the summer solstice.
Mm-hmm.
And they're calling this solar eclipse the Ring of Fire. So, guess what? The Luciferians are having a nationwide march for a one world government in 9 U.S. cities on this day. And it says they're intended to create chaos, and it has been speculated by some that the demonstrators will try to erect satanic monuments at sites where the Confederate and other allegedly racist statues
And that's
were
allowed
at.
to be up.
And it's okay to do this, but not take your child to a park or go to church.
Or drink milk.
Or go to your own family's funeral, or have
go
a
to
wedding, or
church.
have a party.
Mhm.
But hey, you can get your gun and you can go demonstrate and get right next to everybody and breathe in your faces,
Please
but no
tell
parties.
me that you see something wrong in all of this.
And now this next one, like I said, okay, ludicrous, right? Michael Jackson's daughter, Paris Jackson,
Not really his daughter.
22 years old, who's a bisexual in real life.
Of course she is.
Now, she's going to portray Jesus as a lesbian woman
Oh.
in a film called Habit.
Called what?
Habit.
Habit?
Habit. It's a lesbian who indulges in carnality with another woman.
Ah.
Habit follows this party girl with a Jesus fetish who gets mixed up in violent drug deals and finds a possible way out by masquerading as a nun. So Jackson's physical portrayal of Jesus features a nose ring, tousled waves, and a traditional robe. Now, it says the film has no official release date, and there's a petition.
I hope it has no release date ever.
There's a petition to stop the film, but my question is, who would go see such thing? Why would they even?
You know who's going to go
make-
see
Who?
that?
Nancy Pelosi?
Lesbian, non-binary, non-race
I don't even
people.
think they would go to this kind of thing. And this is
Who think they're
ridiculous.
giraffes.
No. Maybe the ones who think they're giraffes, but this is so ridiculous. Who would even go? That's what they
There'll
said.
be idiots that go.
Now, this one's a little bit more interesting and down to earth. Scientists have discovered vast, unidentified structures deep inside the earth. This goes with
Gee,
your
how
Australia
surprising.
thing. It says that they combed nearly 30 years of earthquake data to probe huge and mysterious objects near the Earth's core. The researchers used a machine learning algorithm. Let's see. And one of these enormous anomalies is located on the Marquesas Islands, and it's never been detected before, while another structure beneath Hawaii/Lemuria has been found to be much larger than previously estimated. So apparently the Hawaiian structure was partially mapped out, but now it's much bigger than before, and so they're going to keep looking for more things inside the Earth. Isn't that interesting?
Well, that's what they said in Australia.
Yeah.
With their cascade, whatever they call
Yeah, the hidden rivers things. And according to astronomers at the University of Nottingham,
it. Nottingham.
they claim there could be 36 civilizations with intelligent alien races or more in our solar system.
Guess what? It's more than
Or
36.
galaxy. With an average distance of 17,000 light years away.
Oh, so they're keeping social distancing.
Yes, and apparently they say the estimate is conservative.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Times it by 1 billion.
And then you briefly mentioned that, but this I also had in my news about Trump. being interviewed by his son Donald Jr.
Oh, yes.
about the existence of alien and extraterrestrial life and its connection to the 1947 Roswell UFO incident.
Gee, I wonder why he asked him that question.
Well, the son claims he asked because he's interested.
Yeah, I
and
wonder.
The president hinted that the truth might be declassified before he leaves office. So
Yes,
that was very interesting that they made a big deal out of this.
It will be.
And of course, Eric Trump claimed that social distancing is a Democrat strategy and COVID-19 will magically disappear after the election.
Yes, if hopefully before.
Well, like I told you, I'll
really
be shocked.
hope.
I'll be shocked. And guess this is hopefully a positive note for our country that the Torah codes reveal that Trump wins the re-election in 2020.
Good. Excellent.
Rabbi Mattiyahu Glazer's son, who's an expert in Bible codes, made a bold prediction that President Trump will win his bid for re-election. The rabbi uses software to find hidden clues in equidistant letters in the Torah.
So the letters are social distancing.
Yes. And 6 months before the 2016 elections, at a time when everybody was claiming that Hillary was going to win, the rabbi used his Bible-based technique to predict a Trump victory, and of course he was correct.
Yep.
And he claims...
Bible is always right.
He says, well, you have to interpret it correctly, though. I'm looking forward to the time when Trump will be elected and take away all the laws that are against the Torah, which the Democrats, especially Obama, made illegal.
And the stupid disease that doesn't exist.
Yeah, and if you want to read, we
Yeah.
have really good information in these books that really talk to you about a lot of the things that we're telling you about. That you can understand, in a way you can understand and use. Healing with the Name is the next webinar that you're going to be doing with the Turkish people.
Well, I want to tell them about it.
You want to tell? Well, I want to show them these books because these are really important. These have all kinds of healing techniques, and a lot of them are based on the Hebrew alphabet. So this set especially is incredible. Go ahead.
Yeah, so first, before that, just want to remind everyone that your Italy-Iceland trip has been postponed until 2021.
Yes, but I will also tell you I have people signed up, so if you're interested, we do need to get you on the list because usually we take a van and we have to get more than one, then we have to know in advance so we can get that reserved.
Yeah. My Turkey trip is still scheduled for September, but I'm going to tell you right now, and I told the people in Turkey, if I have to wear a mask for 15 hours on the flight, I'm not going. That's not going to happen. I am not wearing a mask. I'm not getting a vaccine. I'm not socially distancing. I am not politically correct. So deal with that. There will be a webinar June 28th for the Turkish audience, which will be a repeat of the Ecuador.
And that's
one.
really based on this book, The Template of God Mind, which is part of the set I just showed you. So you should have this. It's a great book. It's even got colored pictures on it for you. So along with some Hebrew writing and other interesting explanation. Scorpio.
Yeah, that's me. That's actually my real true form. The Ecuador would like to do another webinar July 23rd, which will be on the reptilian energy and what to do with it.
Any books here that we can recommend
Well,
based on that?
yeah, all of them.
All of them. This is a great one. Say No to Mind Control. Remember this book?
But
this
as we
series?
get closer to July 23rd, I'll have more specific.
And all this will be on the site, so please don't start writing
Yeah,
in.
like, oh, I tried to sign up for today's webinar. It's not today.
Yeah, and don't start writing in.
Read
Look
the,
on the
the
website.
webinar.
We
Read
have
the information.
An events tab. So go to the events tab, and as soon as we have everything finalized, that's where you'll find it. And if you still don't understand, then contact customer support.
Now, I mentioned this before, but I'm going to give you more. The North American Space Summit, NASS, North American Space Summit will be August 31 to September 2nd in Traverse City, Michigan for the aerospace and military. For the Space Force, I will be there. I've been asked to attend.
Are we going to have that on our event schedule?
We might. It's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. Only, certain hybrids and aliens
And reptilians.
and military people will be there. We're hoping that Mr. Branson will come, which I really and also
Pence.
your favorite, Mr. Pence may come. Also, your favorite person from South Africa.
From South Africa?
Yes, the space guy, Elon Musk. Yes, Elon Musk might be there. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. There's also someone else that might be, which
No, they don't tell.
I'm not going to say.
Wait until we have.
But I'll be there. So what else do you need? Really, seriously. Then there is going to be a Sacred Medical Order Nights of Hope / Expansions Global Nights Symposium on October 30th to November 1 in Sterling Heights, Michigan. Everything's in Michigan.
Michigan's an important state.
And it will involve the Chaldean Church investiture on November 1st at a Chaldean church, and we are working on the unification of the Chaldean church with the Assyrian church and so on. That's a very big thing that's going to happen.
And this helps protect your right to do the type of healing that you want, mental, physical, spiritual, whatever is your choice versus being told by the government.
Those of you who sign up for our newsletter, does that go every week? It goes out?
It goes several times a week.
Okay, because that newsletter will contain special information with a special offer for those of you who want to come to the Global Night Symposium in Sterling Heights, which will have, you will be knighted under certain circumstances. The details will be in the newsletter.
And you want to remember the newsletter is free, and we do give you free downloadable ebooks when you sign up for the newsletter. So here, show them the health book. Take that one. So look. Okay, remember this is all one mountain over in my beloved Italy. Right there. So this, you definitely want to get this set, which will help you mind, body, and soul. That's what this is designed to do. And this one is an incredible plethora of information. Again,
It's a plethora.
Plethora. It's got all kinds of colored things in here that I know you love. So, you know, it makes they're reference books, and really you may not be able to sit down and read them from cover to cover, but you'll find good information in there. We have our healing set, Hyperspace Plus, Healing Archetypes and Symbols, our affirmations book. And for those of you who don't know anything about Hyperspace Oversoul, these two basic books, Hyperspace Helper, Decoding Your Life, this will get you started. Get a membership, and please, I keep asking you, don't ask questions on Facebook, YouTube. We have that Q&A on our website for that. So do send it there, and please stop sending videos to Facebook.
Or to me personally.
You know, it's just, I
I
might as
can't
well
back to watch
not
them.
say we don't have time. And so often we get the same ones over and over and over, or we get ones from years ago that people just finally found. So look at the date. If it was from years ago, I'm sure we're aware of it. But just please stop.
Yes.
But if you have extra time, share.
And
share.
I know that you have a very interesting life story, but I can't read 8 billion life stories every week. I'm sorry. I'm sure it's very interesting, but I just don't have the time to read them.
That's right. We do our work, we do our research, we do all kinds of things that
I'm
we don't
working
need to
on
tell
a
you about.
space agency project.
They don't need to know everything we do. We do a billion things.
I'm working on the Knights project. I'm working on Chaldean Church project. I'm working on our own projects.
We
It's
write
very,
books.
very busy.
We do a lot of research. Remember the methylene blue that we told you about? You can read about that. This will help build your immune system. Have no fear, because the fear vibrates at the frequency that's going to make you sick, and that's the point of all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We also put out the mask information, the American Disabilities Act. So those of you who have signed up for our newsletter, you should have that. You can take it with you.
And those of you who do sign up for Sacred Medical Order of the Knights of Hope, we are going to be issuing a vaccination card that will exempt you from any forced
And we have
mandatory
information
vaccination.
on our website, SMOKH. You can look that up, read about the SMOK organization. If you have questions, let us know. But like I said, you know, we have so much on our site. Do your own research. This is what we do. We teach you to self-empower. That means go as far as you can by yourself, and then when you get stopped, we're here. But go as far as you can. Be self-responsible. Be self-reliant. Take control of your life. Say no to mind control.
And remember that no matter what you see happening in the news, and there will be things happening, especially between June 21 and July 4th, remember that it's all part of an agenda, all part of a plan, and ultimately the entire planet will be free, and these demons will be gone, and you can be part of what is coming in the future if you do your work. Don't wear masks, don't get a vaccination, no social distancing isn't necessary. Be a human being under God.
Free your own self and your own mind.
And so, on that note, remember, this Father's Day week, still have time to send me gifts. It's very possible. You know what I like. You know what I want. I know. I'm sending you messages, okay? You know.
Don't tell them that. They'll write it. You're controlling me for blah, blah,
They'll
blah.
say it anyway. I don't care. But just Father's Day control.
There
that's
you
all.
go.
Yeah, that's
Father's
all it
Day
is.
control.
And
No, say
and-
no to mind control.
Yeah. So wish you all a very good, happy Father's Day week, even if you're not a father.
Like, comment, subscribe, and share.
Mhm.
Bye-bye.
Fine. Where we go, when we go, all.